A lot of people don't really realize living in a certain location. This may not be true, especially for like that district that you live in, but it is true for so many areas throughout the country that some areas are food deserts that they don't have accessible access to nutritional food, and I think that's a huge issue. And when we're talking about healthcare and we're talking about food scarcity, it kind of goes hand in hand because not having nutritious food also affects healthcare and it affects like every portion of your life. So impacting the farmers, that's pretty big for someone that does have the the ability to have access to that food and not having priority over their needs is kind of tough.
It's very tough. So one of the things, so currently I'm a Cook County commissioner,
Mhm.
and just for your audience, because I know you're broad across the whole country,
Yeah.
Cook County is the second largest county in the whole country. So when you talk about food insecurity and food deserts, we see them in very different communities, but
Mhm.
we see them consistently. So there's a definition for what defines a food desert by the CDC and the USDA. And we have multiple food desert tracts throughout all of Cook County. You might
Okay.
think it only hits areas that, are look affluent or what have you, but not having access to fresh fruits and vegetables and fresh meats affects all communities. So, for instance, I live in Linwood, Illinois. Linwood, Illinois is on the border of Indiana,
Mhm.
but we are in a food desert. My area that I live in is designated as a food desert. So, one of the things that I did as a Cook County commissioner was to work with the Grocers Association and other organizations that want to bring mid-level grocery stores
Mhm.
into communities. So we're not just having the big, you know, uh, big grocery stores. I don't know what the big ones you have, but we have Jewel Food Store here, Dominic's. Those are big ones. Whole Foods, those are big ones. But we want to say, how could we incentivize someone to have a grocery store that's a mid-sized grocery store that meets that food desert criteria, to come into an area that meets the food desert criteria? And I created a tax incentive for that. So, and there were other stipulations on the tax incentive. The tax incentive wasn't just coming to the community, it was also hire from within the community, people to work in the grocery store who actually live in the community. Make sure that your certain square footage has of the store has fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh meat, and meets that criteria. And the square footage of the grocery store had to be a certain size so that it fit into the mid-level grocer category. I think that's a way that we can help eliminate food deserts, but it also is a way that we bring community back into grocery shopping
Mhm.
so that people shop in their own community. They see people they know. You see the person who works there because you know them. So far, we have only had two applications for that tax incentive. And I just found out yesterday that we have three more. So hopefully this is
Mhm.
catching on. Now that's at the local level of government. So this is something that I would like to take with me to Congress as well. Like, how do we incentivize mid-level grocers across the country to come into community? So I'll be working
Right.
on things like that.
Yeah, and then even then, it comes to down to two things: is accessibility and affordability, and that's also an issue because you could have access to the fruits and vegetables, but if they're not affordable, people do tend to lean towards sugary drinks and just ultra processed foods anyway. So that's also an issue.
It's a huge issue, and that's another thing that I think can be legislated, if you want to say that. There used to be a time where we had public service announcements that
Mhm.
came through just regular TV. Well, now we have so much, you know, ways that people can communicate.
Mhm.
But I do think we need to go back to having educated experts come and talk about It's not okay to drink one drink that has 50 grams of sugar in it.
Right.
And it comes, I was shocked. I just went to Dunkin' Donuts where my husband loves Dunkin' Donuts coffee, which is bad. But we went to Dunkin' Donuts and they have a new drink there and they're touting that this drink, I can't remember what it's called, but it's caffeine free.
Mm.
But no, it's not caffeine free. Yeah, it's caffeine free, but it has 100 grams of sugar in it. Because I was
Wow.
like, oh, I might get this. And I just said, let me just see. I don't even know what made me check it, but I checked it. 100 grams of sugar in one drink. So if you drink that drink, you are done with your sugar amount of intake, not just for one day, probably for 4 days.
Mhm.
But people don't realize that because it's just one drink and it tastes good. But we need to get back to educating the public on how much is too much, how much caffeine is too much. Why
Mm.
is it bad? It destroys your body from the inside out. So I am a huge proponent of that. And I just think that if we could educate a generation on how to make better food choices, that we would change the health of our country or communities easily.
So I also think that one of the things that could happen is to pass legislation on how some of companies could market their foods, because this is a trend that I see so often now, and it's so common for a lot of products to be labeled as protein when they might be high in protein, but they might be high in everything else, which kind of eliminates that. So there needs to be some legislation so these companies don't market their products as healthy when really they're not.
Exactly. I agree with you 1,000,000%. So I'm going to start digging into that. Like what happened? Something changed at some point in our
Yeah.
country where we stopped educating. We used to. So why did it change? And I don't have a good answer as to why it changed. But I do know that it helps, corporations make a lot of money. And when you go to other countries, they don't have the same issues that we have here
Mhm.
as far as how their food is processed and what kind of food there is. I mean, even I'm using McDonald's as an example,
Mhm.
but the McDonald's in the United States and the McDonald's in Spain have two different menus.
Mhm.
Completely, they have fries and we have fries, but their fries are not like our fries. So just
Mm.
little things like that make a difference in the health of the community.